Hello, today's presentation focuses on summarizing Chapter 6, Telecommunication and Networking Security from page 562 to 611 from the Sean Harris All-in-One CISSP book. Topics covered in this summary are network topologies, LAN implementations, network protocols, email services, and network address translation. There are 5 types of network topologies: ring, bus, star, tree, and mesh topologies. In a ring network, every device has exactly 2 neighbors for communication purposes. All messages travel through a ring in the same direction. A failure in any cable or device breaks the loop and can take down the entire network. Bus networks use a common backbone to connect all devices, where single cable runs the entire length of the network. There are 2 main types: linear, where single cable is attached to nodes, and tree has branches from the single cable, and each branch can contain many nodes. Many networks use star topology. A star network features a central connection point that may be a switch or router. Each node has a dedicated link to the central device. Compared to the bus topology, a central network generally requires more cable, but a failure in any star network cable will only take down one computer's network access and not the entire LAN. Tree topologies integrate multiple star topologies together onto a bus, and mesh topologies involved a concept of routes. Some wide access network, most notably the internet, employ mesh routing. LAN implementations. There are 3 types of LAN implementations: Ethernet, token ring, fiber distributed data interface. Ethernet is a resource sharing technology that enables several devices to communicate on the same network. It uses broadcast and collision domains and uses coaxial, twisted pair, or fiber optic media. Additionally to the traditional Ethernet, which functions on the speed of 10 megabit per second, fast Ethernet and gigabytes Ethernet standards have been introduced. Typically, the traditional Ethernet LAN uses bus technology, but newer ones often use star topology. Ethernet uses CSMA-CD control access method, which means that all the terminals are listening to the bus all the time. The second LAN implementation is the token ring, which is LAN media access technology that enables the communication and sharing of network resources. It was originally developed by IBM. It usually operates at speed of 4 or 16 megabit per second. It uses star topology and token passing control access method and offers much better error avoiding and detection method than Ethernet. But due to its higher price and lower speed, it is seconded by Ethernet in general LAN popularity. The last implementation is the Fiber Distributed Data Interface, the FDDI. It is a LAN technology mainly used as a backbone in large university and organization networks. As the name implies, FDDI uses optic fiber as transmission media and operates at speed of 100 megabit per second. One of the network protocols that the book mentioned is the ERP address resolution protocol. It translates and traces dynamically internet addresses into hardware addresses, MAC addresses, on a local area network. The result of this tracing is called map, and the map information is stored in a mapping table, where TCP/IP uses ERP to collect and distribute the information for mapping tables. The second protocol is the DHCP Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. With DHCP, companies with hundreds of end users no longer have to worry about the assignment of IP addresses. A client-server framework in which the DHCP server can dynamically assign an IP address to a client as the client boots onto the network. Additionally, a DHCP server can provide configuration information to the client, such as the name of the bind server or the name of the default router for that client. The third protocol is ICMP, Internet Control Message Protocol, which is a required part of every IP implementation. ICMP handles error and control messages for IP and updates routine information and tests whether a destination is alive and reachable, like in this figure here. If a response is not received to the ICMP echo request, the IP address is not active or the connection to the remote device is filtered. ICMP doesn't guarantee that an IP packet will be delivered reliably or that an ICMP message will be returned to the source host when an IP packet is not delivered or incorrectly delivered. SMMP, Simple Network Management Protocol, is the Internet standard protocol for exchanging network management information and a way of monitoring hardware and software from nearly any manufacturer, from Cisco to Microsoft, Unix, etc. SNMP requires only a couple of basic components to work: a management station and the agents. The agents provides a local or remote network manager with system information, network interface data address resolution information, ERP in this case, information about the routing layer like IP and ICMP, and information about the transport layer, TCP and UDP. The management station is simply software that collects information from the network. Most management stations will pull the network for information regularly. The last protocol is the DNS, Domain Name Service, that translate domain names to their associated IP address. Like I have here in this screenshot, I issued the command nslookup on the Wall Street Journal website or domain name, and then as you can see here, this is my DNS server IP address. This is port 53, and then the associated IP addresses to that domain. So the DNS is basically network service that translate domain names to their associated IP address, and in addition you can use DNS to find a machine and domain names for an IP address. It can be used in three ways. You can look up the primary IP address of a machine name, you can look up the domain name for an IP address, and you can find the name and IP address of your local system. Next topic is email services. We're going to list three protocols. SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, that can be only used to send emails and not receive them. Depending on the network ISP settings, you may only be able to use SMTP protocol under certain conditions. POP or POP version 3 is a protocol that provides a simple way for users to access mailboxes and download messages to their computer or mobile devices, like you see in this screenshot. And the IMAP is a standard protocol for accessing email from your local server, and it's a client-server protocol in which email is received and held for you by your internet server. It allows us to create and manipulate folders or mailboxes on the server. Network Address Translation, or NAT, is a gateway that lies between a network and other networks or internet. Can use either static or dynamic mapping And a third type of implementation is port address translation. A static mapping is configured so that traffic is always mapped a specific way. You could map all traffic to and from a specific private network location to a specific internet location. On the other hand, dynamic mappings are created when users on the private network initiate traffic with internet locations. The NAT automatically adds these mappings to its mapping table and refreshes them with each use. Dynamic mappings that are not refreshed are removed from the NAT mapping table after a configurable amount of time. Now the port address translation, or PAT, is a type of network address translation where each computer on LAN is translated to the same IP address but with a different port number assignment. Most NAT implementations are stateful, meaning they keep track of communication between the internal host and external host until that session is ended. The NAT device needs to remember the internal IP address and port to send the reply messages back. This stateful characteristic is similar to stateful inspection firewalls, but NAT does not perform scans on the incoming packets to look for malicious characteristics.